Hello and welcome to my ever messy art studio. My name is Keeks, and today we're going to be going over some cool tips on how to get some free material, not only for referencing animals but also maybe for collaging, using as drawing practice, whatever you want to use. But before we begin, I wanted to go over this really cool book I found. So I recently went to Barnes & Noble and there was a table that said Book of the Year Award. And I was like, ooh, Book of the Year, what's the Book of the Year? And it's this Backyard Bird Chronicles. And this has really interested me because lately, you know, I've moved recently and I've been really noticing the birds and stuff. And each time I find a new bird, I've been actually looking up what it is and then I've been journaling about it. Well, oddly enough, this lady, Amy Tan, is doing the same exact thing. So this is actually years worth of her journals of her watching her birds in her backyard. And like, she looks at all their behavior, she kind of anthropomorphizes them, but it's really cool. And she actually started doing this as an older person, so she really only started doing this in 2017 or something like that, where she started really paying attention to what these birds were doing and deciding that she was going to journal in them. So it's a beautiful book. On one side you have the journal entry, and on the other side you actually have the actual pictures from her journals, which is really cool. Like, check this out. She even has like how wasps procreate in here. Like, there's so many different things that she knows just from her own backyard feeding. So it's just absolutely beautiful. And as somebody who wants to learn how to draw birds better, I thought that this was a beautiful book just to take a look at. And she's even got like her own art in it, besides journal art, but like actual like little pictures that she drew herself too. So I just think that this is a really cool book, and I feel like if anybody either is interested in birds or interested in journaling, this is a really cool way to look at it. And it's really cool because she kind of tells her story about how, you know, she joined this group who was going out in the forest and, you know, notating everything. And at first she thought this one girl that kept questioning everything was super annoying. And then she realized that she had the same questions that the girl was. So she started, you know, standing closer to this girl and learning from her, and ended up putting those questions in her journal, and later on she'd be able to answer her own questions, which is really cool. So I just really enjoy the journey of this lady, Amy Tan. And I feel like it feels like it's written by like a real person. Like, you know, you read it, there's a few cuss words in there, like she says bird shit quite a bit, which is pretty funny. Like, it just feels very real and genuine. So this is the Backyard Bird Chronicles, and the ISBN for this is 978-593-536-131. So if you're interested in that book, it is currently at Barnes & Noble. I think there's a price in here. So in the USA, this is currently $36, and in Canada, it's $48. You might be able to get it cheaper on Amazon. I don't know. Sometimes whenever you look up books on Amazon, there's like sales going on or different stuff like that. So I would definitely look up this book, maybe try to find a used version of it. It is a beautiful book, and it's worth it just for the journal pages itself. But I've been reading through it. I read her entire foreword, and I'm now on page 30, which doesn't seem like a lot, but there is a lot of information because the foreword is actually several pages long. Like, the foreword itself is almost like a chapter itself. The foreword is from here to here. So this entire section is forward, and I'm not good at reading Roman numerals, but I think that says 26. So really 26 plus the 30 pages is where I'm at. So I've read over 50 pages. So I would strongly recommend this book. It's really, really good, and I think you're really gonna enjoy it. So without further ado, I wanted to go ahead and get into today's topic. So today we're going to have a little Deets by Keeks. I'm going to coin that term now that Denise has given that to me. Denise is Dee Dee Willingham's daughter, and it was really funny because a couple weeks ago I was giving information for our ATC swap, and she goes, ooh, get them Deets from Keeks. And I was like, I love that. So I'm going to steal that. And today I actually have a segment for Deets from Keeks. So lately my family and I have been going to many different parks, and I have shared those images from the parks. Like, I think the first park we went to was this one. It was the Deer Ridge Park, and this is where we saw that deer. Oops, let me zoom out a little bit. There we go. This is where we saw that baby deer at that was following us on the trail. And then a couple days ago, we actually went to a different park. And this was the August A. Bush Memorial Conservation. So we've been visiting a lot of parks. I've been journaling about it a lot. And as I've been going, I've been trying to learn different species. Like there was a species of spider that I saw that I knew it was an orb weaver, but I didn't know what it was. And so I went home. I of course couldn't get good pictures on my camera, so I went home and looked for some references that looked similar to the spider and found out it was an arrowhead orb weaver. So I've been journaling a lot, learning about a lot of insects, a lot of birds, a lot of everything really. And I've been really proud of what I've been learning. And I've just been really enjoying this process. So, and this also reminds me of my old journal, like whenever I would see those birds in my backyard, I would draw them and then learn what their names were. And I've still been doing that. In one of my journals, let's see, this one, my Little Amy Arts journal. For example, the latest bird that I have found is this one, which is the northern mockingbird. And I drew a picture of what I saw because I really liked how some of its feathers were white. And I actually think I found some of its feathers outside too, which is really exciting. So as I see these birds, I've been trying to really practice drawing what they look like. And you know, some are more successful than others, but it's been a very enjoyable process. So I want to share the love with you in some ways that maybe if you have not had an easy time looking for nature, maybe here's some good ways you can. So when we went to this last park, one of the things that was there was actually a kiosk from the Missouri Conservation Department, because I'm in Missouri. Each state has their own conservation department, so I'm assuming at these natural conservations, all of them have a kiosk full of magazines. And this is awesome for several reasons. Number one, you can learn a lot about your state through these different magazines. Number two, most of them have pictures in them. So you can either use them as drawing references, you can use them for collage, you can do all kinds of things. So not only can you learn about laws, you can learn things like edible mushrooms, which one's edible, which one's poisonous, are there false ones, different things like that. So I wanted to kind of show you all the magazines that I took from the kiosk. So that you can kind of get an idea of what's out there, because maybe you're someone who wants to learn more about your home state and you know you're kind of wondering what all's out there. Well, at this kiosk they had the Wildlife Code of Missouri, so this is kind of cool. It has all the different laws. So if you're not quite sure if something is within the law, you can look it up. Or if you're a collage artist, what you can do is use these pages. Maybe you want to use this as a journal. I mean, the pages are a little thin, but you could use this as a glue book. You could also probably watercolor in this. I'm not sure how soluble the pages are for that, but if you did a light wash, that would probably be okay. You could use it for washi stickers, washi tape stickers, the washi tape paper that's been going around our community lately, that would be great in here. You can pretty much do whatever you want. You can even rip this up and create your own collages with it. So I just wanted to show you that this is a very thick book, and it does have different sections in it, which is really cool. It also has a section for definitions, which is really interesting, and I know a lot of people like to use definitions in their collage work. On the back, it also has all your different regional offices, which is pretty cool. So, you know, this is a great thing if you want just something interesting to include in your artwork that has to do with your state. This is a great thing to include. The next books here are just different guides. So for example, this one is a guide to Missouri's edible and poisonous mushrooms. And these are all put out by the Missouri Conservation. So I just wanted to kind of do like a quick flip through of some of these. So this is really cool because you can learn about the different parts of the cactus, which is really cool. Cactus, oh my goodness, mushroom. I got cactus on the mind because I was watering cactuses before this. But anyway, it has all the different parts of the mushroom on here, which is really cool because if you're trying to understand what mushroom anatomy is to draw, you know, this is great. It also tells about different spores, you know, staining and bruising, what those different things mean. This is telling you how spores can spread, which is really cool. This is also telling you how to make a spore print, which is really cool. That can be really neat for artwork. The first section is edible mushrooms. So you've got puff balls, which are really cool. Pear-shaped puff ball. This one's called Shaggy Mane. It's also got cooking hints, which is pretty cool. This one's called Crown-Tipped Coral. This one's Coral Mushroom. This is a morel. So that's a type of morel there in the picture. Oh, here's the other two types. So we have the common morel and a black morel. And this one's called a half-free morel. This one's a common chanterelle. I like how it has both what the spores look like under here and then also the top, the cap. This is a smooth chanterelle, a cinnabar, this one's called Bearded Tooth. This one I know is very popular in the mushroom community. Sometimes I think it's also called Lion's Mane, which is what you hear a lot about, and people, whenever they look like this, are like, yes. These are oyster mushrooms. Ash tree bullets, Old Man of the Woods. I believe now we're in the section of ones that can't, are these still ones that can be eaten? Oh yeah, cooking hints. So yeah, you can still eat these. Chicken of the Woods. Hen of the Woods. I saw a lot of dead hen of the woods. They had dried out already. They also have a section of poisonous mushrooms. So in this one we have the false morel, which looks pretty similar. It's just got different coloration. Deadly Gallerina. Ombatus olerarius. Chlorophyllium moldy bites. Which is interesting. Those are the ones that we commonly see like that make fairy rings. And then there's additional websites and books that it gives too, which is great. And then this is one where it says, hey, flat bottom baskets help spread the spores as you hunt and increases the chances of finding more mushrooms in your favorite hunting areas next year. So see, she has a woven basket where it has holes, and that's going to increase the spores. Very cool. And then there's even a page for notes in here, which is really tight. So that one is Edible and Poisonous Mushrooms in Missouri. This one's a guide to crayfish, and look at how beautiful and colorful this image is. When I always see crayfish, or as we call them crawdads, they're always brown. So I've never seen one that colorful. But we've got lots of different pictures in here. So we got one in a threat pose, how you can observe and collect responsibly. This is a burrowing chimney. So this is a tall tale sign of a crawdad. This is just showing like different streams where you can find them and where you can find them in different areas. These are the different life cycles. So it shows here you've got the eggs, then you've got little hatchlings. This is one that's molting, so it looks blue in a way. And then this is one that has already molted. This is probably the kind that you see the most around here, I would say. This kind of brown guy. It tells you about the different anatomy of one, and it goes into quite good detail, really. And I would assume the anatomy of these is pretty similar to a lobster, so if you have crawdads in your area and they have a book like this, you could probably study it if you wanted to do other types of crayfish as well. Oh, excuse me, I'm thirsty. But yeah, that's really interesting how detailed this gets. So this is talking about different species. So you've got the hubs, you've got freckled. That's really cool looking. These are cold water crayfish, the belted crayfish, woodland, long pinchered. Wow, those are long pinchers. The golden, the neosho midget. Oh, that's a name. The mammoth spring. the saddleback, Meeks, the ringed, the Ozark, Big Creek, the spot-handed crayfish, St. Francis River, Williams, Salem Cave crayfish. Ooh, those are all white. That's really cool. I wonder if they're blind because I'm noticing that I'm not really seeing eyes like I see over here. Like, it looks like they have eye stalks, but they're white. So I'm wondering if these aren't blind. Oh, they are. Description: blind, white, translucent. Very interesting. The Bristly, the Caney Mountain Cave. I bet that one's blind too. Gray Speckled, that's a beautiful one right there. The Red Swamp crayfish. The Cajun Dwarf. Oh, it looks so tiny. This one's the Schultfield's Dwarf. A shield crayfish. That one's really cool looking. Very interesting. Oh, it says it's only 1 to 2 inches long. This one's the shrimp crayfish. I wonder if that's the kind that you see sometimes in like fish tanks and stuff, because I bet that one's pretty small. The White River, Vernal. Oh, that's a cool one. The Painted Devil, Paint Hand Mudbug, Dagger Cray, Calico, Water Nymph, Grassland, Devil, Varelli, and then a glossary of all the different words you might see, and Good Eatins, how to cook them. Oh, this is interesting. These look like either maybe they're trying to mate or maybe they're fighting. I don't know. But yeah, so that's a really interesting book, and it went into so much detail, which is really cool. This one I thought was really cool. These are roadside wildflowers, which I always see different ones, so it's really exciting. So I'm just going to kind of flip through here. Probably don't need to name all the ones like I've been doing, but this section has white flowers that you might see on the side of the road. So I'm just going to quickly flip through some of these. And if I recognize any of them, I'll definitely say so. Blue purple flowers. I love these. These are called henbits. When I was a kid, we used to call them honeysuckles. As an adult, I now know they're not called that. But what's really cool about these is if you actually like eat the little flower parts of these, they actually are really sweet. Like they have like a sweet taste to them. But it's interesting because usually these are typically known as like a weed where I'm from. But yeah, so it's kind of cool. As far as I know, you can eat these because I've definitely eaten several of them and I've never had a problem with them. But please don't take my advice when you go to eat random plants. Definitely have seen these cone flowers. That's really pretty. I love that. That'd be fun to do with Neo colors or something. I feel like I've seen these before. Well, no, it says, oh, their origin is from Europe. Okay, okay, I got you. Definitely see this one a lot. Thistle. Definitely see those. I don't know about that one. Orange flowers. Huh, it doesn't have the one that I would have thought for orange. There's an orange flower that's not a milkweed, and it's kind of like got a bell shape to it that I'm a little surprised isn't on here because I see it all the time. There's some yellow flowers. We do get a lot of those. Definitely get black-eyed Susans a lot. Definitely have seen those. These are like what 4-leaf clovers grow on, I think, right? Or no, these are sweet clovers. Sorry, I thought I saw the little... So our clovers here do get little yellow flowers on them, but they're not tall like that. Compass plants, which are kind of like a little sunflower. Peridoc, tall goldenrod, evening primrose. I haven't seen that, but that's beautiful. Yeah, there are definitely some other flowers that I would have thought instead of these, but yeah, there's lots of beautiful flowers in here. This would be great for collaging, or if you want to practice painting some of these flowers, there's some beautiful up-close pictures of these. That's wonderful. This one I'm really excited about. I want to draw this guy. He's cute. So these are salamanders, and there's all kinds of different beautiful pictures of them. So this is different. What? Oh, that's kind of cool. So this is a type, this is the larval stage of a salamander, and it looks like an axolotl. That's so interesting. So here's all of our different species we have here. I wonder if skinks will also be in here out of curiosity. Probably not, because they're not really a salamander, but so many beautiful ones. Wow, that guy is interesting. He looks kind of like a snake, but has little tiny arms. That's a cool one right there. These guys are so cute. Very cool. So yeah, definitely a lot of really cool salamanders here. So I just thought that one was really cool, so I had to pick it up. The next one we have here are toads and frogs. So if you're trying to learn how to either draw toads or frogs or want to use them in your collages, this is great. Oh, we've even got mating ones, so maybe Valentine's Day. That was a bad joke, don't do that. These are different eggs. So right here, these are toad eggs versus frog eggs, so that's really cool. Got tadpoles. Oops, sorry, that's a snake eating a frog. These are the different species in Missouri. Remember, this is not going to account for every single species everywhere. It's just going to be for, you know, the most common ones. That's a really cool one. I see these a lot. These Cope's great tree frogs live near us a lot. I've also seen the green ones before, which is funny because I've always lived in Kansas City, but I've definitely seen the green tree frogs. Usually it's like, usually you see this one or you see this one. I love the gray ones. I think they're really pretty. I remember last year I got a really cool picture of one. Well, that guy's really camouflaged, isn't he? Oh, those spots are really cool. Yeah, so lots of great examples in there and how you can tell the difference between frogs and toads. Lizards. This might be where I see my skink friend. We get blue-tailed skinks here like no other. And what do you know? We've got the prairie race runner, and we've got all kinds of, oh, that's cool. It talks about their vitamin D and how they use that. Very cool. Well, that's interesting. A forked tail. Interesting. So a predator tried to grab its tail and it didn't break off its tail all the way, so it ended up with two tails. Very cool. So here's all the lizards that live around here. These are my favorite though. This is the blue skink. The blue-tailed skink, we get those a lot. I didn't realize that they were young though when that happens. That's interesting. Then I must see a heck of a lot of young ones because I swear I see blue ones all the time. I wonder which one though, because there's two blue ones. We usually see the ones with the white line, so I bet this is the kind that we see a lot. Oh my god, a lot of them actually have blue tails when they're young. Maybe I don't know what kind of skinks I see at all. This is really cool that they have both young male and female in there. I feel like I'm already learning a lot. Oh my god, look at how small that is. It's on a dime, y'all. That's cute. Why are all these so adorable, and why do they all have blue tails? This is interesting. So this is called the Western Slender Glass Lizard, but it's not a snake, it's a lizard. Very interesting. I love that this includes young male and females. That's great for drawing references. And their habitat information. Oh, very cool. The Amphibians and Reptiles of Missouri, put out through the State Conservation Department. I'll have to try to find that sometime. Unless it's in here and I just haven't noticed, because I've got a lot of these bigger magazines I grabbed there too. So this is the Missouri Woods, and I didn't get it because of woodworking. I actually got it because it has a bunch of trees in it. So like I thought it was interesting because something that I wanted to work on is getting better at doing textures and bark. So I absolutely love that this has like up close and personal views of tree barks. I thought maybe that could be helpful. So you can see here different types of barks. As far as the wood grains and stuff like that, I could care less about that. It would be fun to watercolor those, I suppose, but I'm really mostly interested in seeing the different barks and the leaves. So this is kind of cool though, because it tells you where everything is. Now when we were in the park the other day, we saw a really old ash tree. It was old, it was big. It kind of made me mad because somebody had nailed a sign on it that said it was an ashwood tree. I'm like, why would you do that? It looked like the sign had been there for 1 billion years, so who knows. I'm just gonna quickly flip through this, but look at this. Look at that texture there. Like, that is amazing to be able to see that. One thing I wish it had in it was I wish it showed the whole tree, but I do love that it at least gives you the different kind of barks. Ah, I love barks that have like the green on it, the moss and the lichen and stuff. But yeah, so you don't get to actually see the whole tree in here, but you do get to see a lot of the bark, which is great. Oh, and you also got a bunch of definitions too, which would be good for collaging. So you got all of those. Here, let me start moving my pile of books around. Got a lot of them. This one is natural community, so the natural diversity. Here. So you've got different, ooh, this is cool. So this looks like it's in like a pond or something, or maybe a lake, and you see all the trees growing up through it. That's a really cool picture. This is Cypress Swamp at Mingo National Wildlife Refuge. That's beautiful. So, oh, you got more, you've got different butterflies, got fish, this really weird looking prairie chicken. I didn't even know we had prairie chickens here. I'm learning something. That could be a conspiracy chicken. The spotted skunk, I have seen skunks here before. I'm not sure that I've seen a spotted one, but I've definitely seen some skunks. Some warblers. Interesting. Scorpions. We do get Texas brown tarantulas in southern Missouri, which is pretty cool. That's a beautiful bird right there. Some more salamanders. That's a beautiful flower, whatever that is. Oh, these are cave species. You can see they don't have any eyes. You also got some bats in here. We do see bats often at night, so that's really cool to see that. That's a cool bird. I've never seen that before. Rabbits. We have a ton of rabbits around here, so I believe that. We do get eagles here, that's right. I didn't know about the dollar sunfish, so that's beautiful. snapping turtles. Yeah, I believe that. We also, I'm surprised, I've seen sturgeon before, but I'm surprised they don't talk about the gar. We have a huge gar problem in our lakes around here. But yeah, so pretty beautiful, kind of random. This one's a resource guide, which I thought might be interesting. So some native garden plant inspiration, but I absolutely love things with flowers in it. Ooh, and it's got all of our birds and stuff here. Ooh, I've never seen a tufted titmouse before. We get a lot of cardinals, and that's one thing I love about Missouri is we are full of cardinals. We also get golden finches around here too, which is really cool. Okay, so this is telling you about what kind of plants are native. So I'm sure all the states have something like that. So maybe not as much resources here, but stuff like this, you know, I don't know, you can, I'm sure using Collage or something. These two seem to be children's magazines, but I thought I would look at those too. So this is the Nightlife here. Oh my gosh, it has a fold out. Okay, so we've got coyotes, red bats, raccoons, definitely. Flying squirrels, I didn't know we had flying squirrels here. Bullfrogs, knew about those. Spring peepers, American toad. Here's a deer. Spotted salamanders, yes. White wolf spiders, definitely. Katydids, great horned owl, red screech owl, wood ducks. I did see a wood duck yesterday, so that's fun. Luna moths. I've only ever seen one Luna moth in real life before, but I'm sure they are here. And then what times of the year that you can see them and what sounds you might be hearing. So that's pretty cool. I know we've been hearing a lot of owl sounds since we moved here, so I'd love to know which kind of owl that is. I wonder if it says what kind of hoops they have. Maybe that could give me a hint. So I'm probably hearing a barred owl, which is this guy here, because it's technically the typical owl sound. Yeah, and then this one's black bears. I'm not gonna lie, when we were in that really old forest the other day, I was terrified that we were gonna see some black bears or something, and I'm really glad we didn't, because we found what I thought was a deer bed because it looked like there was a bunch of fur there, and I posted it on Reddit and somebody said, no, that looks like somebody attacked a rabbit, and I was like, but there's no blood, it's just fur. But apparently that happens. So glad we didn't run into a bear. But we definitely do get black bears here for sure. A lot of the times you'll see the cubs, and if you see the cubs, mommy's going to be nearby. So got to be really careful. They are adorable, but do not mess with bears. So this just tells about the conservation of bears and how to avoid confrontation. If you encounter bears up close, how to, what to do. What you should worry about whenever you're camping. Very cool. This one also looks like a child's magazine. So this is an ant on the front of it. Just put up, oh my god, by the conservation. That's a baby turtle. It's so cute. Why? This is talking about classes of lizards. We've got the wings of a moth, it looks like. Snakes. Oh, that's interesting. How to open things safely and how to carry knives safely. Okay, all right. Wasn't really expecting that, but that's cool. Information about ants. Very funny. It's like a whole section. Gar. This is what I was curious about. We get a ton of gar in our lakes, especially Smithville. Smithville has a ton of gar. So I was curious about if we would be seeing anything about those. I love rainbow trouts. They're so pretty. I love catfish. We get a lot of blue catfish. This is really cool because it shows all the different ones. These would be great for collaging, or if you were like trying to figure out how to draw fish better. Definitely cool. Ooh, this would be cool for collage too, all these little cutouts. The only thing that kind of sucks about them is these little numbers and stuff, but I bet you could paint that out. Very cool. Yeah, I guess the ones that I see are always the babies, I suppose, because they always look like that. I didn't realize that those were babies, though, man. We must get a lot of babies. I guess the adults maybe survive, and you just don't see them, but yeah, interesting. So yeah, he's covered in moss. And then we also get the Missouri Conservation magazines here, which I like these personally because they have like little articles and stuff in them. But you can always find, you know, different information here, what things are invasive, because we definitely do have some invasive insect species and stuff like that. And it just gives you more information. Like here's a soft-shell turtle. Soft-shell turtles are cute. There's a poem. Yeah, so lots of different things here. I'm not really interested in the stuff about hunting. I'm not a hunter. I don't really like that. But, you know, stuff happens. I love bluegills. Bluegills are one of my favorite fish that I used to be able to catch. I like catch and release. Probably brood, but, you know, whatever. Common blackberry. We actually used to have that growing in our backyard. Yeah, so I'm sure that the different states put out different conservation magazines, but it's really cool whenever they do because you just learn so much, and I absolutely love that. Smokey the Bear. What is that? A fuzzy walnut caterpillar? That's what they look like? That's horrible looking. Look at that. My goodness. That's a fish of some sort, probably a bluegill or something. Oh, it was a longar sunfish. Well, that's cool looking. Yeah, so go to your national wildlife parks and go look at their kiosks. Ooh, that's a cool picture right there. But go look at their kiosks because they, you know, I got every single one of these for free. I didn't pay a dime for any of them. All of them were just literally sitting up there. And this is like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 books with so many great resources for free. So if you're someone like me who likes to do a lot of art projects, whether it's, you know, painting, drawing, maybe you do journaling about things in your backyard, you know, whatever it is that you do, your Deets from Keeks today is to go to your local wildlife facilities and go to your conservation areas, go to the kiosk and get some of these free magazines because you are going to learn so much. And it's impossible to use all these as references and not learn about the different things in your state. And what becomes exciting about it is you're going to see some of those things and you're going to be like, oh my God, I know what that is. That's totally a da-da-da-da-da. And you're going to be able to rattle off some random fact that you would have never known before because you picked up these magazines. So I just think that this is a really great way to expand your knowledge, a great way for practicing, and a good enrichment. Like, get out there, go do it. You know you want to. Well, if you stayed with me this long, thank you so much. I know that this wasn't necessarily about art, but sometimes I just kind of want to talk about resources because there's just so many great things out there, and anything that I can do to help inspire both you and me, I think is a great thing. So thanks for sticking with me this long, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!